Hi everybody, it's Peter Zellums, Griniflix Adventure Aid, and welcome to another video. Today's video is about the Leica Q2 and also the Leica Q3. Yes, I had my first opportunity to give the Q3 a go. I do have the Leica Q2 Reporter, which I really enjoy. But anyway, yes, so I had an opportunity to try out the Q3 with one of the largest distributors of camera gear in Australia, DigiDirect. They held a launch of the Q3. They invited a couple of guest photographers, Nick Rains from Leica Academy, and also Jesse Marlow, who's also a renowned photographer. So they hosted the event, and then also Jesse Marlow organised a photo walk in Sydney, and I'll be able to show you some results from those two events and also give you my first impressions of the Q3 and what my plans are for my Leica Q2 Reporter. In this case here, I do have an aftermarket base attached to the Q2. Here you can see, because this one comes with an Arc Swiss plate, much the same as the Leica base handle type assembly for the M11, so I really like that idea. I have loads of camera gear, both Leica as well as Nikon are my two digital camera systems that I use, in addition to a whole bunch of film gear, whether it be Hasselblad, Mamiya, Bronica film medium format gear, as well as my Nikon gear, as well as my Leica M series film cameras as well. So there's no shortage of gear coming out of my ears. Nevertheless, I still have the Q2, and this is in fact the second Q2, Leica Q2 that I had. I had the original black version with the red dot, and then when I had an opportunity to buy the Reporter version, which I really liked the look of it, I got this and sold my Q2 conventional version. So that's the dilemma that I have now with the Q3 out, is do I hang on to the Reporter, the Q2 Reporter, and get the Q3, or do I wait for a new iteration of the Q3? I mean, the interesting thing about Leica gear is that besides being top quality and outstanding equipment, the type of shots you take is really going to be governed by your own creativity. The best camera to use is the one that's in your hand. So putting all that aside, there is definitely something to be said about using something that feels nice, that looks good, and you have an emotional attachment to it as well. So I suspect that that is an element of truth for Leica, and that's probably why people spend the money and invest in Leica equipment. And also, it is supported by the resale value of Leica equipment, that it does hold its value, much the same as Apple computers in the technology field as well. All right, so putting all that aside, I think right now my views are to hang on to the Q2, and should a different version of the Q3 become available that appeals to the aesthetic nature of my needs or wants or desires, then that might be on the cards as well. But anyway, that's my first impression. But let's go have a look at some of the shots that were taken both with the Q2 as well as the Q3. photo walk with Jesse Marlow was really interesting. We had 2 hours and we had a group of about 20 people, and Jesse set the task for everyone to go out and film whatever they were using. Some people were using smartphones, others were using Nikon gear or Sony or whatever, so all sorts of cameras were being used. And then we had 3 Q3s that we could actually share amongst all the participants to take some photographs as well. So the challenge that Jesse gave to everyone was to go out into Sydney, so we had one particular location called Martin Place, and take images, photograph whatever you wanted, but somehow in that image find the initials of your name and see whether there was some creative way of finding your initials in the type of shots that you actually took. So I've selected some of the photographs that I took, both with the Q2 as well as with Q3. And the challenge I'll give you is find those initials in the photograph. I will point them out later on if you can't find them. But the other thing is that when I come back and just talk about some of these photographs, see whether you can pick out the shots that were taken with the Q2 versus the Q3, whether you can actually tell the difference. One of the key things that interested me about the Q3 was the flip-out screen. So with the Q2 there's no flip-out screen. I have a number of cameras, the Nikon cameras for example, they got flip-out screens, and I do use that from time to time, particularly when you want to take low-down shots or high shots and you want to see what you're actually taking as opposed to just guessing. You can guess. When I'm ever using the Q2, I want to take a low shot or a high shot, I know roughly what angle to press and how to take the shot. And either you use manual focus and guess the distance, or you use autofocus and let the cameras work out the focus. So you can experiment obviously, but if you've got the flip out screen, then you can maybe take less shots and spend less time, and you might actually get the opportunity with the one shot rather than trying to redo the shot and compose it correctly or get the right focus. So the flip out screen was a key factor for my interest in the Q3. Anyway, can you see that sort of shot in the shots that you'll see now? Okay, jumping into Lightroom, let's have a look at a couple of these photographs. Let's have a look at the capability of the 60 megapixels in the Q3. So this is your 60 megapixel file. So it's 9,520 pixels along the long edge and 6,336 down the bottom edge here. Choose an area to sort of zoom in. That's 100%. Go 200%. Go 400%. And you can see that the level of detail we're still getting with the lens. I mean, that's crazy. So you can see we're just right that little section in there. It's a very small photograph. There you go. So I cropped it right down to 486 by 324. So that's about 1 megapixel, or 1.2, 1.3 megapixel. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of detail. I'm looking for P's and Z's. I just like this photograph. And what was I shooting at? I was shooting at 1.7 and my focus point was here. I mean, it's at 400%. That's ridiculous. Let's go back down to say even 200%. So you can see how much detail there is with the lens. It's and all the colors and everything. Yeah, it's an incredible lens. I think I've even got this in focus here right on the very edge, in the same focal plane that I was focusing at. Yeah, very nice. All right, where's something which got a bit more obvious P's and Z's? All right, well, there's sort of a Z there, even though it's back to front. I think that's an S. I have to reverse the image to make it a Z. Anyway, I like the photograph with the yellow. Lots of detail again. You can see how much detail is caught. And that's at 3.5, f3.5. Yeah, incredible lens. Where's an obvious Z? Oh, look, there's a Z. And if you look closely, there's a P there as well. So PZ. There you go. I knew I would find one somewhere. And I think I've got another. And there's a Z here. You can see a Z there. And you can see sort of a P there as well. Anyway, there you go. Okay, well, wrapping up. I hope you enjoyed those shots. So I guess we've got a couple of scenarios now. If you don't have a Q or a Leica Q camera already, and you're deciding whether to get one, well, I guess a number of aspects. If you've got the budget, get the Q3 because it's got the flip out screen. It's got 60 megapixels. It's a whole bunch of stats. And I won't go through those, but basically you got the latest technology and you got an outstanding lens, the 28mm f1.7 lens, which I believe is the same lens on all the Qs. So yeah, that's a no-brainer if you don't have a Q already. If you've got the Q2 and the flip-out screen is really important to you, without a doubt, then that's the way to go. If you've got the Reporter, well, I really like the Reporter, so I can't imagine me selling the Reporter unless there's a Q3 Reporter coming out. But then again, there might be some other variant. Who knows? I have a disease of camera purchasing, whatever, so I tend not to sell my cameras. I tend to go back to my old cameras, my old digital cameras, my Nikon D700, for example, which is now going on 15, 14 years old, and I pull that out from time to time. So I imagine I'll be pulling out my old Leica digital cameras as well, whether it be the M's or the Q2 or SL, the 2 that I have as well. Who knows? What are you going to do? Do you have a Q2? Are you going to change to the Q3? Are you new to Leica? Is the Q series cameras the first camera that you're actually Leica camera that you're getting? Let me know. If you're new to Leica and you want to get started, well, no, there's nothing wrong with the Q2. It's a fantastic camera. Yeah, it was great working with Jesse Marlow. So you have an opportunity to do a photo walk with him, then by all means do. I think you can learn a lot. I've definitely learned a lot from talking to other photographers and seeing how they work and operate. Continuously learning. And it was great also meeting Nick Rains at the DigiDirect launch. So I'm looking forward to catching up with Nick as well as with Jesse in future videos. So watch out for that. Hopefully I'll be able to get an interview with both Nick as well as with Jesse. Did you guess the images, which is which? the Q2 images versus the Q3. Having 60 megapixel on the Q3 does let you crop in further. You can crop in heaps on the Q2 as well. And yeah, so there's a lot of flexibility there. Being a small camera format, this is without a doubt when I have a social event of any kind and I don't necessarily want to think about what sort of photography to do for that social event, then I just grab the Q2. That goes into my camera bag and goes to the event whether I take any photographs or not. But that's the one I go for. I typically plan my photo shoots with my other camera gear, including the M series gear that I have, the Leica M's, as well as my Nikon, as well as my Leica SL2. Well, I hope you found this video informative, educational, entertaining. I really appreciate you viewing my videos. If it's the first time that you've come to my channel and you haven't already subscribed, then press subscribe, press notifications to be notified when the next video is out. And if you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up. That's how you support the channel as well. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. And cheers. See ya. Bye.